My son frantically called me at 2 in the morning demanding, "Transfer $15,000 for my wife now." That was the sentence that tore straight through the darkness and dragged me out of sleep before I even knew I was awake. My name is Daphne Lawrenson. I am 60. At first I thought I was still dreaming. The phone kept vibrating on my nightstand, rattling against the wood like it was shaking on behalf of whoever was on the other end. When I finally answered, Ryan did not even wait for me to speak. His voice was ragged, frantic, the way a person sounds when they are trying to outrun something. "Mom, do it now. $15,000. Brianna needs it. They will not treat her unless it is paid immediately. Please just transfer it." I sat up slowly, heartbeat thudding. I recognized the urgency in his voice, another crisis he assumed I would solve. It was not fear. It was pressure. The same pressure I had heard in every late-night request, every forgotten bill, every quiet admission that he had miscalculated again. "Ryan," I said quietly, "call her family." There was a long silence, the kind that carries disbelief, then anger. "Mom, you do not understand. This is life or death." But I did understand. I understood more than he knew. There had been too many emergencies that appeared out of nowhere, too many debts dressed up as disasters, too many nights when I had opened my banking app with shaking hands. Something inside me finally stopped moving. "I am not sending the money." I said, "Call her family." He cursed under his breath. Anger first, then something like panic. But I held the phone steady. I did not add explanations or soften my voice. I simply ended the call and let the room fall silent again. For a long moment, I sat in the dark, listening to my own breathing. I expected guilt to wash over me the way it always did. I expected my hands to shake. I expected to reach for the phone and call him back. None of that happened. Instead, a strange stillness settled over me, as if I had slipped out of a role I had been performing for decades without ever auditioning for it. By morning, the real story behind Ryan's call would begin to unravel, pulling me back through every choice that had led us to that moment. I barely slept after Ryan's call. The sky outside was still dark when I finally gave up on pretending and went to the kitchen. I made coffee out of habit, not appetite, and sat at the table where too many decisions had been made with too little thought for myself. My name is Daphne Lawrenson. I am 60 when my husband died. I was 44 and trying to keep our lives from collapsing under the weight of hospital bills. Ryan was 18 then, furious at the world and at me for not being able to save his father. I remember him slamming a door and shouting, "You promised everything would be fine." I didn't correct him. I didn't tell him I never promised that. I just worked more. When he wanted to try community college, I filled out the paperwork and paid the tuition in a single lump sum. "I'll pay you back," he said, hugging me quickly. He didn't. I didn't remind him when he lost his first apartment because he forgot to pay rent. He called near midnight. "Mom, I'm being kicked out. Please, just this once." I drove across town with cash in an envelope. He met me outside, eyes wide and apologetic. "You always come through," he whispered. I felt proud and ashamed at the same time. Brianna entered the picture a few years later. She had charm, ambition, and a tendency to reinvent her career every season: cosmetology, real estate, social media consulting. Each shift came with new expenses. "It's temporary," she'd say brightly. "An investment in our future somehow." The invoices always ended up in my hands. One afternoon, when a bill collector called looking for Ryan, I listed the major bills and transfers I'd covered over the years, enough to make me realize the scale of my giving. The total stunned me more money than I'd ever allowed myself to imagine leaving my account. I stared at the list, feeling something in my chest go tight. For years I'd told myself I was holding the family together. But as I looked at the numbers all lined up in quiet accusation, I felt the truth settle in. I realized I wasn't helping them grow. I was carrying their safety net, and they'd never asked how heavy it was. I tried to push the 2A-mole call out of my mind, but the truth is, the signs had been piling up long before last night. They just came in small pieces, easy to excuse if I wanted to. It started with Ryan changing jobs every few months. One evening, he called, sounding upbeat. "Mom, I left the firm. It wasn't a good fit." "You left or they let you go?" I asked. A pause. "Does it matter I'm moving on?" It mattered, but I let it slide. Then Brianna began posting photos that didn't match anything I knew about their income. Brianna's posts hinted at luxuries I knew they couldn't truly afford. A necklace that looked real enough to make my stomach tighten. When I asked her about it at a family dinner, she laughed lightly. "Oh, these partnerships mostly." Ryan jumped in quick and sharp. "Mom, she works hard. Let her enjoy something." I hadn't said she couldn't. I just knew something didn't add up. Thanksgiving was the moment I stopped pretending. I came early with a pie, hoping for a calm afternoon. Instead, I stepped into a house buzzing with tension. Ryan's jaw was tight. Brianna kept checking her phone, chewing her lip. During dinner, I heard Brianna whisper in the kitchen, "We're already over the limit. I can't open another card." Ryan hissed back. I said, "I'll handle it. Just let me think." The moment they saw me, they straightened and forced smiles. "Mom," Ryan said, "everything's fine." But his hands were shaking when he passed me the bread. Driving home that night, I kept replaying their voices. The strain, the fear, the cracks in their perfect life weren't cracks anymore. They were fractures running straight through the foundation, and I had a feeling last night's call was only the beginning of what was waiting underneath. When my alarm finally buzzed, I felt like I'd aged 10 years. The room was quiet, but the moment I turned my phone on, the silence shattered. By morning, dozens of messages and calls waited Ryan and Brianna, frantic and urgent. The first text flashed immediately. "Mom, answer. This is serious." Then another. "Why are you doing this? She needs help." And then the shift sharp, cutting, "I can't believe you'd abandon us like this. You always do this." I read them all slowly. My hands didn't shake this time. A voicemail from Brianna came next, her voice trembling. "Daphne, please, if anything happens to me, it'll be on you." Ryan's falling apart. "Just transfer the $15,000. Another text from Ryan arrived as I stood at the kitchen counter. "You're refusing to help when we need you." I set the phone face down and forced myself to breathe. Coffee, shower, clothes, movement kept me from drowning in their desperation. At Mount Tabor, I walked the lower loop, letting my body do what my mind couldn't. But even there, the phone kept vibrating in my pocket like a trapped heartbeat. When I finally answered, Ryan didn't even say hello. "Mom, I need the money now." His voice wasn't panicked anymore. It was angry. "I told you last night," I said quietly. "I'm not sending anything." "You don't understand," he snapped. "They aren't treating her. They're threatening us." "Which hospital?" I asked. A pause. "I told you already." "You didn't." I said, "Tell me the name." He inhaled sharply, words catching. "Mom, stop interrogating me. Just send it." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "If Brianna's truly hurt, I'll drive there myself," I said. "Tell me where she is." He hung up. The wind picked up across the path, but I barely felt it. Whatever this was, it wasn't about a hospital anymore. Their fear was real, but it wasn't the kind they claimed. I was halfway through making another pot of coffee when my phone rang again, an unfamiliar Vancouver number. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something in me tightened. I answered. "Miss Lauren," a man said. Voice steady, official. "This is Sergeant Hale with the Vancouver Police Department." My heartbeat stumbled. "Yes, I'm here. I'm calling regarding your son, Ryan Lawrenson." The room felt smaller, the air heavier. What happened? "He was detained this morning following a disturbance outside the Riverline Casino," the sergeant said. "Security reported an altercation. Your son appeared intoxicated and attempted to use a financial document under your name." I closed my eyes. "He used my name?" "Yes, ma'am. He presented a form identifying you as the primary account holder for a credit line he attempted to open. Casino staff flagged it immediately." I gripped the counter, forcing my voice to stay even. "Is he hurt? He's being evaluated for minor injuries and is stable. The immediate issue is bail $15,000. The words landed with a thud in my chest. 15,000, the same amount he demanded at 2 o'clock in the morning. He told me his wife needed emergency treatment, I said quietly. The sergeant paused, choosing his words carefully. Ma'am? Brianna was not present. There was no medical emergency on record. I let the truth settle slow, heavy, undeniable. He continued. Your son asked us to contact you. He said you'd want to know. I swallowed. Can I speak to him? He's in holding. I can bring him to the line. A shuffle, then Ryan's voice, strained and defensive. Mom? They're lying? Just pay the bail. I'll explain later. You used my name, I said on a credit form. He exhaled sharply, irritation leaking through. Mom, stop making this a big deal. Just help me. All right. I felt something inside me draw a line that had never been there before. No, Ryan, I won't. Silence. Then a low, furious whisper. I knew you'd do this. I ended the call before he could say anything else. I set the phone down, my hand steady in a way that surprised me. The truth was clearer now, but so was the danger buried beneath it. The Vancouver Police Department was colder than I expected. Fluorescent lights, hard chairs, and voices echoing off walls that felt too clean for the mess waiting inside them. An officer led me down a short hallway to a small interview room. Ryan was already there. He lifted his head the moment I stepped in, eyes bloodshot, jaw tight. Mom, thank God. Tell them you'll post bail so we can get out of here. No greeting, no apology. Just expectation. Before I could answer, the door opened again and a detective stepped inside, a tall woman with tired eyes and a folder tucked under one arm. Maloran, she said, offering a polite nod. I'm Detective Alvarez. I appreciate you coming. Ryan groaned. Can we skip the lecture? My mom just needs to sign. Sit, she said sharply. He did. Detective Alvarez placed the folder on the table and opened it. Your son has been involved in multiple incidents at Riverline Casino over the past 3 months. Debt-related disputes, attempted extensions on credit lines, several accounts traced to false or altered information. I stared at Ryan. Altered information? She means falsified. He snapped. It's happened more than once. The detective continued, ignoring him. Last night he attempted to open a new line using personal data under your name, Ms. Lawrenson. Staff flagged it and security intervened. He resisted. I didn't resist. Ryan shot back. They overreacted. I was trying to explain. You were yelling, Detective Alvarez said calmly. And when they denied the credit extension, you tried to walk out on an existing balance. The door opened again and Brianna slipped inside. Mascara smudged, hair pulled into a shaky ponytail. Daphne, she breathed, rushing to my side. This is all being blown out of proportion. You weren't there, I said. I was on my way, she insisted. Ryan just panicked. He's been under a lot of pressure. Pressure you helped create, the detective added. Brianna's eyes narrowed. I didn't force him to gamble. No, the detective said, but you benefited from it. Ryan slammed his palm on the table. Mom, stop listening to them. Just post the $15,000, please. I looked at my son, the desperation in his voice, the entitlement beneath it, and felt something in me shift again. Heavier this time. I'm not bailing you out, I said quietly, his face twisted, disbelief turning into anger. You're my mother. I'm done paying for disasters you create. Silence fell between us like a closing door. He stared at me, trembling. Then you're leaving me here. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The detective closed her file with a soft thud, and in the stillness that followed, I felt the future tilting his, mine, all of it. As the truth finally settled where it always belonged, an officer escorted me to a smaller room so Ryan and I could speak alone. The moment the door closed, he stood and grabbed the edge of the table like he needed something to hold him up. Mom, listen, he said quickly. I swear I can fix all of this. Just pay the bail, $15,000. I'll pay you back. I promise. You've made that promise before, I said. He flinched. Why are you doing this? You always help. I helped, Because I thought it would protect you, I said softly. But it only kept you from facing consequences. His jaw clenched. So this is punishment. No, this is me stepping back. He shook his head, pacing. Mom, I'm being charged. They're talking about court, programs, evaluations. I can't stay here. You put yourself here. He stopped and stared at me like I'd struck him. You're supposed to be on my side. I am on your side, Babasum. That's why I'm not paying about. Then you don't love me, he said, voice cracking with anger. He couldn't control. I do love you, I said, enough to stop carrying you. He pressed both hands to his face and let out a broken sound. You don't understand. I'm scared. I messed up. I know I messed up. I know you're scared, I whispered. But this is your life, Ryan, not mine to fix. He dropped into the chair, shoulders shaking. For the first time in years, he didn't look like a man demanding something. He looked like the boy he used to be. Lost, hurting, unsure of what came next. Please, he whispered, eyes red, don't leave me alone in this. I'm not leaving you, I said, but I'm not rescuing you. His breath hitched, and the space between us shifted, painful, fragile, real. The officer opened the door a moment later, and Ryan didn't look up as I stepped out. By the time I left the station, the calls had already started. First, my sister, Carla Daphne. What on earth are you doing? She demanded the moment I answered. Ryan said, You refuse to help him. He's your only son. I didn't refuse to help. I said, I refuse to pay his bail. That's the same thing. It isn't. She sighed sharply. You're being dramatic. Just fix this before he ends up with a record. I hung up before the guilt could creep in. 2 minutes later, Brianna's name flashed across my screen. I let it go to voicemail, but she tried again. A third call. The call, then a text. I hope you're satisfied. You've ruined everything for us. When I checked her social media, my stomach tightened. She'd posted a blurry photo of herself crying with a caption about being failed by the people who claimed to love you. The comments filled fast, strangers offering sympathy, others demanding to know who hurt her. She didn't mention my name, but she didn't need to. The timing made it obvious. Then came a call from her mother. You heartless woman, she snapped. My daughter married into your mess of a son, and you're leaving him to rot. What kind of mother does that one who's done being blamed? I said, and ended the call. At the station earlier, Detective Alvarez had handed me a form. This protects your financial identity, she'd explained. It states you decline responsibility for any accounts he attempted to open under your name. I signed it with a hand that didn't shake. Now, standing in my kitchen, watching my phone light up with accusations, I let every message roll past me without replying. My world was turning against me, one voice at a time. But for the first time in years, I wasn't the one scrambling to fix the damage. 3 days passed before I heard anything solid about Ryan. A public defender named Mr. Kellis called while I was folding laundry. Ms. Lawrenson, your son asked that I update you. He said he's facing charges related to credit fraud, resisting casino security, and attempted misuse of financial information. Given his record is otherwise clean, he qualifies for a gambling diversion program. It would replace a felony charge if he completes it. I pressed the phone to my ear. Is he agreeing to it? He already signed. Kelly said he understands this is his only path forward. I wasn't sure I believed that, but it was the first time anyone had said Ryan understood anything. Later that afternoon, Ryan called from custody. His voice was smaller. Mom, Brianna blocked me, he murmured. She blocked me. She said she can't do this anymore. I didn't answer right away. He filled the silence. I know I messed everything up. I know you're tired of hearing that, but I'm going to finish this program. I'll get a job. I'll pay back every Ryan, I said gently. Just focus on doing the work one step at a time. He exhaled shakily. Do you still want to talk to me? I'm here, I said, but I won't save you. I know, he whispered. That's why I think I can finally change. When the call ended, I sat at the table, hands still, listening to the quiet of the house that no longer felt heavy. Spring came slowly, the way healing does. I stabilized my accounts, paid off the small debts I had ignored while rescuing everyone else, and started hiking Mount Tabor again. My steps felt steadier than they had in years. Then one afternoon, Ryan texted Mom, "Can we meet?" "I'm ready to talk." We sat at a quiet table in a small cafe. He arrived early, dressed plainly, eyes clearer than I'd seen since he was a teenager. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I'm different now. The program forced me to look at everything. I hurt you. I used you. I thought you'd always catch me. You thought love meant bailing you out," I said softly. He nodded. "I know better now." He took a breath. "I have a job. I'm showing up every day. I'm paying fines a little at a time, and I don't expect anything from you except a chance to make amends for what I broke." I let the words settle before answering. "Ryan, I love you, but there's a boundary now. I'm your mother, not your safety net." "Not?" For a long moment, he just nodded, relief softening his shoulders. "That's fair," he whispered. "More than fair." When we left the cafe, the air felt cleaner, the distance between us finally honest instead of painful. If this story resonated with you, like, comment, or subscribe for